Hi, I'm Darren, and welcome to this week's weekly English practice from English Coaching Projects. This week's weekly English practice raises the issue of whether or not it's time to introduce Universal Basic Income, or UBI. What is Universal Basic Income? Well, it's a government guaranteed payment that each citizen receives. The intention behind the payment is to provide enough to cover the basic cost of living. And the concept is also seen as a way to offset job losses due to technology. So let's take a look at the pros and cons. Some people are really in favor of this and other people completely against it. First, let's look at the pros. Pro number one, workers could wait for better job offers or better wages. People could have simple financial assistance without all the bureaucracy. It may help remove the poverty trap from traditional welfare programs. Perhaps you could stabilize the economy during recessions, like now, and also offset anxiety and depression. The cons. Some people feel it would trigger inflation. Some people could get lazy and wouldn't want to work. And of course, many are simply opposed to giving handouts to the unemployed. So that's all for this week. As always, on page 1 you have questions which you can answer and speak about with your friends, your family, your ECP coach. And of course, don't be afraid to record your voice on WhatsApp and send it in to us. That's all for this week. Bye bye. Is it time for universal basic income? Should we all receive a universal basic income from the government just for being alive? Maybe it could reduce anxiety and make us happier and thereby more productive. A lecturer at college once told us, if you can put a toaster on the buffet so that guests can make their own toast, put the toaster on the buffet and let them do it. Why? To cut costs, of course. 20 years ago, a waiter would show you to your table and ask you whether you would like a tea or a coffee. Then they would ask you if you wanted toast and take your order for white or granary. Now, in most hotels, all the breads, teas and coffee are all placed on the buffet and the guests go and get it themselves. This greatly reduces the number of staff required to serve breakfast. Often, especially in small to medium-sized establishments, only one member of staff is required to meet and greet guests as they enter the restaurant. The same person also cleans and sets tables, while at the same time keeping the buffet topped up. By simply placing a toaster on the buffet, you are making the hotel owner richer and the waiters redundant, which leads to greater inequality. As technology gets better, more and more people will be out of work. Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX founder supports the idea of universal basic income, UBI, as his own projects such as self-driving cars are set to put millions of people out of work. So what do we do? Just sit around and hope that jobs will appear? Or do we act now? The idea of universal basic income, although it's not a new concept, is entering the mainstream and gaining support as a potential solution to the capitalist-induced social inequalities. Universal basic income is a program whereby all citizens of a country receive an unconditional income, independently of whether or not they are in employment. One of the virtues of this proposal would be to ensure that no citizen would fall below the poverty line. One argument against giving free money to citizens would be that people become lazy and wouldn't want to work. UBI is a concept that has been ongoing in Alaska for decades, and studies have already debunked that argument. In Finland, people who have received the money said they had greater opportunity to pursue work in fields of interest to them. This is an opportunity to cancel dangerous, boring, repetitive work and free people up to do interesting, creative, fun things which will ultimately allow them to live a better and more fulfilling life. Of course, if we have a hangover from Calvinism, we are going to be heading for a painful bottleneck that we have to pass through before any positive change is made. For this idea to work, people would have to be more supportive in their attitude to the less privileged. Whether they are in a position to work or not, we should wish them the best and enjoy seeing people living a decent life free of suffering. Surely the billionaires of this world will come to the realization that there is a level of inequality that becomes unsustainable, and that the masses will finally blow a fuse and come looking for them with pitchforks. Redistribution is surely the end game. These are this week's questions. What are the benefits of universal basic income? What do you think is the downside to UBI? Do you think it would work in your country? Do you believe it will ever be introduced in your country? Should millionaires also receive the money? Why? Or why not?